All right, welcome back to the slice. I have just returned from Paris where I was getting the slice from the grounds in Paris at the Rolex Masters, which has been a great tournament so far. And we have a great quarterfinal matchups set here, which we're going to go through. But also, Nadal lost early to Tommy Paul, and Daniil Medvedev also crashed out, smashed a racket on the way. So we're going to look at what happened in those upset victories, and we're going to talk about the quarterfinals going ahead in Paris, where it's all going down on the cool courts of Paris-Bercy, the Accor Arena. So let's get into it here on the slice. All right, welcome back to the slice. Thanks for being here, people. If you have not yet, subscribe to the Monday Bagel. Link below. Our next roundup of the weekly news for you delivered to your inbox is coming out Monday. And you don't want to miss that because we'll also be announcing a giveaway, a free giveaway winner, which we do every month on the newsletter. So thanks for that. And like I said, I just got back from Paris-Bercy, where I was not given a credential. So we were just there checking out the city and went to a few matches. Got a ticket from one of the player camps to come watch. That was cool. Watched the Murray Simone match where, Simone was retiring and he came back and somehow beat Andy Murray. That was hectic. Pretty electric in there. So cool tournament. Obviously not cool that they did not give us a press credential because it just makes no sense. Like, we'll literally help the tournament. But alas, we are now getting into the business end of this tournament. And before we get really into it, we're going to thank BetStamp for being the sponsor, the presenting sponsor of the slice in the indoor hard court season. Now, BetStamp is a platform. If you're a sports bettor, you can line shop to find the best odds for the bet you're going to make. So say, for example, you're going to bet on Djokovic to win his next round. All the different sports books actually are going to have different odds. So if you're going to do that bet anyways, you might as well get the best odds for the bet. That's what BetStamp allows you to do. So click the link below, sign up, use our code SliceTennis, and we'll see you on the platform. So shout out to BetStamp for being our sponsors. So what happened? Rafa Nadal crashes out of the Paris Masters. This has been the one tournament. It's one of the Masters he's never won. Everyone knows that indoor hard is not his best surface by any means. It's probably his worst surface, to be honest. And he crashed out and against Tommy Paul, who, let's be honest, is a great player, obviously, and he's had a great, consistent 2022. And I actually talked to his coach, Brad Stein, before the match, a couple of days before, and we chatted about how Tommy is really becoming a fast court player. So this was the tough matchup to start with for Nadal. And then he, did not just play. He played some interesting tennis. First set went to plan, and then lost the second set tiebreaker. And then the third set, he just looked rusty. He looked like he was making tired decisions that he doesn't normally make, missing balls that he definitely does not normally miss. And he just looked, like the much older player, which he obviously was, like 11 years older than Tommy Paul, who's like in the prime fitness of his career. So that was not, it's a surprising loss, but not shocking, I would say. Like, we saw Nadal go out to another American, Frances Tiafoe, at the U.S. Open, and these younger, more athletic at this point in their career guys who can hit big on faster hard courts are going to be a problem for Nadal for sure. So he also, remember, hadn't played for like over 2 months, just had his child, his first baby. So his life's obviously been different as of recently. So not a huge surprise, but we'll see what type of form he brings into Turin. And there's a chance that he might not even show up. So we'll see about that. But that was Rafa going out in his first match in Paris-Bercy. And then we also had Daniil Medvedev, one of the favorites for the tournament, crashing out to Alex de Minaur, which is not a really good loss. It's de Minaur has lost 2 times in the last 2 weeks to Holger Rune, who's playing amazing tennis. But then, ADM is the type of guy that you would really expect Medvedev to beat, except maybe Medvedev, they have similar games, big, athletic counter punchers who can just really shrink the court. So maybe ADM, players don't typically like to be given a taste of their own medicine. So maybe Alex was able to do that. I didn't get to watch too much of this match, but I did see the end where Daniil Medvedev absolutely smoked his racket in a pretty, I would say, if you're going to rate that smash, I would say it's a pretty good smash, calm, cool, collected, and kind of slow bang. So Medvedev, that's obviously a huge piss off for him. He was the runner-up in Paris last year, so he drops a lot of points. I think he's down to 5th in the rankings. And Tsitsipas, if he wins the tournament, is going to go up to like number 2 or 3. So those are the two big losses. But the other big news of the tournament, and the big news in the Canadian, definitely tennis world, is Felix Auger-Aliassime being an absolute boss. So if you didn't see this, I cannot share this clip here, but obviously go to our Instagram where I have the clip of Felix Auger-Aliassime. He beat Elias Ymer on court 1 in Paris, which I was at. And it's basically a little hockey rink converted into a tennis court. So the seats right behind, there's no fence, anything. There's just like, not that there normally is, but it's not elevated. You're like right down on court level sitting there basically. And the French crowd, you know, a lot of them are just idiots. And then they're just going crazy. But a select few of them are like, we're total hecklers. Anyways, I think they were like supporting Ymer the whole time. So Felix wins this epic match, like 3 hours and 30 minutes. He wins the match and just turns around and literally looks at one guy in the crowd and just goes like this for like a good 10 seconds. He literally just gives him the quiet treatment for 10 seconds and then goes like, flicks him off. So it was hilarious. Go to our Instagram or TikTok to watch the full video and let us know what you think, or my Twitter at the Slice Steven. But it was epic, and Felix is epically on a, I think it's 4, I forget now. No, he won last night, so that's 15 matches in a row for Felix Auger-Aliassime. Is he the best? Let's take a poll here. Question for you guys: is he the best player in tennis right now? You could say Djokovic obviously is. I think he's on like an 11 or 12 match win streak. He won Tel Aviv and Astana, and you know now he's rolling here in Paris. Just beat Khachanov last night. But Felix has won 3 titles in a row. He's looking just mentally locked in. I was actually chatted with his agent before his last match, and he has also now clinched the ATP finals. Felix has clinched the ATP finals spot, which is amazing for him. Big accomplishment. But his agent is saying, it's best run of his career, but he is actually feeling tired. But he was able to follow up that tired kind of performance against Ymer, where he squeaked through with a solid one to end Gilles Simon's career. So yeah, Felix, I'm very bullish on Felix. I was able to chat with him all week in Basel, as you guys hopefully saw. You can read the article on theslicetennis.com. But yeah, it's he's balling out of control. Is it him or is it Djokovic, the best players in tennis? Let me know that. So now quarterfinal time. Let's take a look at the quarterfinal matchups here. We got first today is Felix versus Francis. So that's going to be an athletic affair for sure. That's going to be a tough one for Felix because he's the favorite in that match, in my opinion. But Francis is totally the guy, that could hurt him. He's just as athletic, both hit big, both can serve it well. Felix has a serving advantage, I would say. But they're both amazing movers and both have good great forehands. And I would say almost Tiafoe's backhand's a little bit more reliable than Felix's, although Felix's backhand, he said, and he told me that he's improved it since the US Open, and he's also improved his return. So I think Felix is the favorite, but it should be a tight match. And it's definitely a losable match for Felix for sure, because Tiafoe has been an amazing player all year, and he's definitely playing good tennis right now and has the ability to beat Felix. So if we're just going to look at the ATP Tour app is down right now, so that does not help us here. But if we look at just quickly at their head-to-head, which I'll pull up, Felix Tiafoe or Felix has won both of their previous meetings. So that's kind of interesting. The last time they played was this year in Barcelona, round of 16. I did watch that match actually, and then they played the year before the US Open. That was a good match. So yeah, that's a solid matchup. Felix versus Tiafoe first up in Paris-Bercy in about 2 hours, honestly. 3 hours actually, or 2 hours. And then we got Carlos Alcaraz versus Holger Rune. So Holger Rune's been in the news a lot, front of the show, for, people think he's a brat. People think, if you didn't see, Stan Wawrinka allegedly pulled him to the net after their epic battle. He said, my advice to you is to stop being such a baby on court. He is 19. So, Stan could have, Stan or Federer or any of these players also acted like babies at different points in their careers. But, Holger now is ruffling a lot of feathers with all the players he's beat. I tweeted it out. He's beaten Alex de Minaur twice. He's beat Tsitsipas. He's beat Hurkacz now, Wawrinka, all these players since the U.S. Open. So he's had an absolutely amazing hardcourt season post-U.S. Open. So that's going to be a tough match for Carlos, because I do think Carlos is facing a little bit of the pressure of being the number one player in the world. He says it's just a number, and he's kind of doing that to not put pressure on himself, I think, in the press conference. But we saw Felix beat Alcaraz last week in Basel, fairly routinely. I was there for it. I called that result happening before it did. And this is going to be another tough match for Alcaraz to kind of prove that he's the number one player in the world, fend off a really hot player in Holger Rune. And they've known each other forever. So if we look up, I don't know what their head-to-head will actually show. It shows one win for Alcaraz, and that was at the Next Gen ATP Finals. That's their only official match, but I think they played like more than a handful of times in juniors, and they played together. So it'll be super interesting to see them. I talked to Holger in Stockholm about the drop shot being those two probably have the two best drop shots on tour. Is there something that, special going on in the juniors where they learn to use that? And he said, no, it's just, just something that's a good shot, and they both use it well and have learned to incorporate it into their game in smart ways, which is totally true. So that'll be a super interesting match. I'm favoring Carlos there, but it's super close, and it's another danger match for Carlos. And then we got Djokovic versus Musetti, which is super interesting. I think the last time they played was in the French Open 2021, and we all know what happened there. Let me just confirm that. No, they actually played in Dubai, this year in 2020. Djokovic beat Musetti 6-3, 6-3, but obviously there was that epic match where Musetti was up 2-0 and then just got the ship got flipped on him by Djokovic, as he's done so many times to younger players, and then he ended up just basically quitting at the end, 4-love down. So yeah, we'll see if Musetti's playing great tennis. Again, he can hit well. I think he's beefed up his serve, so he can be dangerous. And Djokovic is feeling like himself again. He's been playing great. He totally outclassed Tsitsipas in Astana to win that tournament, and he won in Tel Aviv. So he loves the indoor hard courts in Paris-Bercy. I think he's won it 5 or 6 times. So he's definitely the big favorite, but we'll see what Musetti can do to get him off his game, hit through him. He is getting stronger and hitting. He's playing good. He won Hamburg, so he's been playing well lately. Another great match, great quarterfinals here in Bercy, is it not? And then lastly, Stefanos Tsitsipas, Tommy Paul. Literally no boring matches in this quarterfinal. Like I said, I've been talking to Tommy Paul's coach, Brad Stein, and they've been really working on things in his game, and then Tommy Paul's really developed into an elite all-court player, and he's even better on faster courts. He used to be kind of known as a clay court specialist. He won a lot on clay, but with the way he can come forward and volley, and Tommy told me after Stockholm last year, which he won, he's trying to feel as comfortable at the net as he is at the baseline. And if you watched the match versus Rafa, he came forward extremely effectively. So that's interesting to see. It's going to be an all-court match. Stefanos is obviously a killer. So, on these quicker courts, though, sometimes Stefanos can get put on the back foot and not be as aggressive as he wants. So we'll see how Tommy can do there. Picking Tsitsipas as the favorite in that match, but Tommy is going to have a lot to say for sure if he plays well. So my favorites and my picks, I guess, are Carlos, Felix, Djokovic, and Stefanos. I'm not really calling any upsets, but it's amazing quarterfinal matchups, like I said, here in Paris-Bercy. So I'm back in Switzerland watching from up in the Alps on the action. What do you guys think about these matchups? What do you think about Nadal, Medvedev crashing out? And what do you think about our guy, Felix Auger-Aliassime, absolutely murdering the crowd that he was fighting on court one, and they're very epic and one of the most gangster things I've ever seen from one of the nicest guys on tour, Felix Auger-Aliassime. So that's all from the slice today. We will check in with you before the semifinals probably, and we got a lot of good tennis to watch today. So let's get after it. We'll see you guys on the other side. Thank you for subscribing, clicking all the links below, and we're almost at 15,000. So if you're watching this, smash the subscribe button, help us get there.